guys, gonna do a video on my Rustler today. I've had so many questions this year about this car, what I ran in it, what chassis. I'll show you guys what I run in this car. Right now it's a roller, don't have a ESC or motor in it. I took all that out to put in my slash so I could run it. Alright, got a stock body on it. Pull this off. Set that over there. And there we have it. This is a RC Reaper chassis, a Speedster chassis. Aluminum. I have two of these chassis. I keep one for a spare in case I crash and bend one. I'll switch everything to the other one. That way until I get the other one fixed. But battery trays from Kershaw Designs. Modified them. I cut the front and rear out of them so I can fit big batteries. Do over 100 in a Rustler, but I mainly bought this chassis because I liked the layout on it. I liked how the batteries were set up in it, and I wanted to give it a try, and it's done real well for me this year. See, the receiver box mounted up front. When you do get these chassis, it actually comes with an ESC shelf that sits right there on that shock tower and comes out. If you've seen some of my earlier videos with this Rustler from last year, you can see what I'm talking about, but I don't use it because I use an XLX in this car, which I have that mounts right there. It's just an aluminum plate I made. Ain't very pretty, but gets the job done. Got my antenna. I just recently done this, trying to help get a little more range out of this Traxxas radio system. I still use the stock 2.4 gigahertz from Traxxas. I do use a gyro. I use Traxxas TSM. I know a lot of people look down on that, but I don't really care. It's my car and I run whatever I want in it. Does real well for me. STRC front shock tower, aluminum. Sega custom weighted bumper. It's meant to be mounted on the bottom of the bulkhead, but I actually mount mine on top. The way it acts as a spoiler. If you mount it normal way, it's just pointed straight out. I only use one plate. Got the base plate that mounts and one additional plate. That's all I use. Arms in the front are ProTrack from Slash 2-wheel drive. Gave me a little extra width in the front. Shocks or GTR shocks, but a lot of people use the GTR shocks from a Revo, but these actually came off a Slash 4x4. Which the front are the same, but the rears are longer. So I got travel limiters inside these to lower it down where I want it. Green springs, 70 weight shock oil. Got white springs in the front, 70 weight shock oils. Got travel limiters inside these as well. See, aluminum shock tower in the rear. This is from RC Reaper as well. I did have the matching front one, but it got ruined from a crash, so I had to switch back to my STRC. As you can see, the STRC grain's a little bit different than the Reaper one. Let's see, transmission. It's the energy box, stock internals, Proline. The top shaft's actually from the Proline transmission. It don't have a pin in it. That's one of the main things that breaks on these cars is either the inside differentials are bust or shred, and a lot of people also blow that pin out. But the Proline shaft is made out of one piece. You can't see from the outside obviously, but it's made out of one piece. It does not have a pin, but it also don't have no holes on the outside, so the Traxxas a slipper eliminator or the Traxxas slipper clutch will not fit on this shaft. This is why I'm using a pinion for a spur. It's 34-2 Traxxas pinion from the X01. if you know how to drill holes real good, you could drill a hole. You'd have to be precise. You could drill a hole and put a pin in it and run the regular slipper system, but I never used it anyway, or had a slipper eliminator on my stock shaft, but now it has a Pro line in it. Dry shafts are from Techno. I've had these on here for over a year. Ain't gave me any trouble. Only trouble they give me is I've broken the inside pin on the axle about 3 times, but that's it. I've never broken the axle or the outdrive cups. Techno rear carriers. Yeah, these have 1.5 degree toe in. Both of the Techno carriers. Skid plate. I made that myself. It's actually a rough copy of the one that Sega sells. It's not as good as theirs, but it served its purpose for me. Adapters for the Techno axles. I actually have the Techno 17mm stub axle set up on it, but the actual adapters on the rear is an X01 adapter. I was just curious if that would fit, and it ended up working. But an X01 17mm adapter will not work with the stub axles that come stock with the Techno axles. I've already tried it, they will not work. But it does work with the stub axles for Techno 17mm set, which I still have those. The only reason I switched is because Techno wheel hubs were not splined, and the wheel wrench I have is for spline nuts, and I didn't want to have to carry 2 wrenches around whenever I go to run. So I stuck those on there to see if they would work, because I had them laying around and they do work, so just left them on there. Got the servo Spectrum 6070, just like in my LCG Slash. Caster blocks in the front I run are from Anza. Honestly, I really like these a lot. They have a stud that goes through with a nut on the bottom. Tighten it up and get a lot of the slop out of it. I just recently installed these. These have not been on here but a couple months, because I just found these. Didn't even know they made them. STRC lock nuts on the A-arms. Hard to see them. I need some better light. There it is. Got a lock nut on the rear. Same on this side. I got them on the rear A-arms as well. And up in there. Don't have an outdrive hub on this side. I stole it to fix my Slash because I busted one when I crashed the other day. But probably don't have any plans to run this car no more this year. But I'll bring it back out next year. Right now I'm just focusing on my Slashes. Here's what the RC Reaper chassis looks like with nothing on it. Dual battery trays, which is the main reason I wanted to try this chassis, because I liked how the batteries were set up on it. It's a little dirty, needs to be washed, but that's what it looks like, guys. And now I answer a question that I got a lot this year, and that was, how did I fit this Warrior body on this Rustler? See my other videos, you've seen me run this GT body. So I'll show y'all how I mounted it. I use Slash 2-wheel drive body mounts from RPM. I flipped it upside down like that. Had it mounted like that. That's how the front was. The rear. It just bolts up to the shock tower. Now I mounted the rear. And for the front, I used a Sega bumper. I took the base plate, put it in a vise, and straightened it out. That way I could mount this foam to it. I put this in a vise and I bent it out straight, and then I just mounted the foam bumper. You can see that. I just mounted the foam to the bottom of that bumper. Used them long bolts and a couple washers. You can see on top where it used to be mounted. But that's all I did to mount. That's how I mounted a Warrior body. Obviously this body isn't meant for a short wheelbase car, which is why I cut the back out so much like that. It does look kind of goofy, but it does. If you've seen my videos, you've seen this body works very well on a Rustler, and I actually like it. And I will be changing it back to GT at some point next year to run it in GT form again. Well, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give y'all an overlook of the car. Oh,